Welcome back. If you've been thinking about getting chicks, here are 5 things you need to start chicks right now. Alright, first things first, before you get chicks, I know everybody wants to run out and buy some chicks because they're so cute. First things first, you need a brooder. Now we have a pretty big brooder here. This is like 4 foot by 8 foot. I know not everybody has the room to put a brooder in this size, but before we did this, we used one of these. So this is just a simple, small little tote, maybe a 20 gallon. 19. I was close.
Yeah,
That was a good guess. All right, it's a 19 gallon tote, and we cut out the top, took some hardware cloth, and just screwed it down. And that way you can get in there easily. So that's a very simple, cheap,
Walmart, $10.
effective way to make a brooder. So that's number one. Number one, you need a brooder.
There you go.
Number two, you need some wood chips. You need some sort of bedding for your chicks. We just use Tractor Supply wood chips. We use the fine. I know a lot of people are like, oh, don't use the fine. It's too small. The chicks will eat it. It's not that small.
No.
People
No,
are just
it's not
over
that
dramatic. It's really not that small.
Mm-mm.
We use the small flakes, the fine flakes, because it breaks down and composts easier. All right, so that's number two. Now, the way that we do our litter is it's called the deep litter method. So as the chicks poop and all this stuff in there, we just add a little bit each day, just to cover it.
Obviously, we have a bigger area than we need for the 5, but they will get big and they will do it quickly.
Yeah, so right now we have this separated down. This brooder is really for our meat birds. I don't know, we've raised like 50 birds in here at once.
Yes.
But we only have 6 chicks, so right now we have it.
Oh, we only have 5.
Oh, we have 5.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, one choked on its food yesterday. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, so we have this broken down into a smaller compartment for our 5 chicks. Number 1, you need a brooder. Number 2, some bedding. Wood chips are great. So number 3, you need a waterer and a feeder.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty important. There's all different types of feeders and waterers out there. We have
Just the simple one I found on sale.
I think this is a half gallon waterer. Yes. And then we're using a little trough feeder at the moment. Mm-hmm. But if you're using a little tote, you don't need something that big.
No.
You're not going to have the room for it. They have these very inexpensive. Here's the dish. Yeah. All right. So go to Tractor Supply, your local feed store. They should have these. They're pretty cheap, a couple bucks. You can get them with a little plastic container that screws right on the top. Or you could just use a small mouth mason jar. 2 different types, all different colors. This one's blue, we have purple, we have reds. Color doesn't really matter. This one's for water. See, it has that little spout there for water to come out. And then they make one for feed. That's number 3. So number 1, a brooder. Number 2, some wood shavings. Number 3, a way to feed them and to give them water. All right, number 4, probably the most important thing for chicks, is a heat source.
Yes.
We're just using a heat lamp here. It's nothing special. Again, go to Tractor Supply or your local store, probably even Walmart. Mm-hmm. You could pick up a heat lamp and a bulb. They're pretty cheap. Some people don't like these because they can cause a fire if they drop or something happens. As you can see, we have ours secured pretty good. We got some screws there, got a clamp there, cord runs back that way. We've had almost a fire once, so we just make sure it's really secure. They also do sell a plate warmer. They're quite costly, so if you're kind of on a budget, it's probably out of your range.
Amazon's about $70.
Yeah, they're pretty pricey.
Yeah. Tractor Supply is $85. So, I mean, it's worth it if you're gonna do chicks more than once. But otherwise, right now, that's what we use.
All right, so number 1, again, was a brooder. Number 2, some bedding. Number 3, a way to feed them. Number 4, a heat source. And number 5, chick feed.
Yeah.
You gotta feed them. You want to get a straight chick feed. They call it poultry starter,
Yeah.
chick feed.
Grower.
They're usually at least 20% protein, usually 20 to 22%, depending on the brand you get. But we just have the Do More brand here.
It's 20% chick starter.
It's like $20 for a 50-pound bag.
Yeah.
Obviously, 5 chicks are not going to eat all that food. If you're only getting a half a dozen chicks or so, just get a small bag. See how far it gets you.
Yeah.
We buy because when we're done, we'll just either use them for the
More chicks.
meat birds, or
We
we'll
have
just
turkeys coming in.
we got turkeys, or we'll just feed it to the chickens out there.
Also, to add with the food, they need a grit so that they eat that. They'll go over and eat it. They know when to eat it. And it helps break down the food in their system so that they don't get bound up and you don't get the chicken butt.
Chickens don't have teeth, obviously, so they can't grind up their food. So in their gizzard, they collect grit or rocks or sand or something. With chicks, I would recommend just some sort of little bit of sand. So as they eat, the food goes through their gizzard, it grinds up the food, and that's how they digest. So
Yeah.
pretty important. And another tip, in their water, just add some apple cider vinegar, about a tablespoon for those smaller
Yeah.
quart size or pint size waters. It helps promote good probiotics in their stomach and digestion, and it's good for a host of other things. We do it. Seems to help them, keeps them healthy. All right, so that's our 5 things. Again, 1, a brooder. 2, some sort of bedding. 3, something to feed them with, some sort of water and feeder. Number 4, a heat source. And number 5, your chick feed. And those are the 5 things you need to start chicks right now. So don't be afraid anymore. Go out, get your stuff, and get your chicks.